Hey everyone, it's Amy here and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another Love It or Leave It review on a brand new limited edition and totally hyped up product from Too Faced. And this is the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Honey palette. We are going to talk about everything you need to know about this palette and swatches. That way you guys can make an informed decision. And I'm going to let you know whether or not this palette is totally worth the hype or not. So here is what the packaging looks like. I will say it is totally adorable and super cute, typical packaging by Too Faced. You open it up and here is what the palette looks like inside. Now let me compare it really quickly to the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette as well. So here are what they look like side by side. That way you guys can see the differences as well as some of the similarities. It is available on Ulta's website right now for everyone and it will be in stores on March 19th. I did pick up my palette a couple weeks ago when it released for one day only for Platinum members. So I've been playing with this for a couple weeks now. I definitely have my opinions on it that I want to share with you guys, but it retails for $36. You get a total of 9 shades in here. The total of the 3 big pans is 6 grams. The total of all 6 of the little shades are 5.4 grams. So just to give you guys a little idea. Now, Too Faced says this is limited edition, surprise, surprise, and that it's pigmented, buttery, smooth, smells like peanut butter and honey, and that it's an amazing palette. So I can't say that I agree with most of those claims. So we're going to talk about each of those claims and break it down. But as far as the smell goes, I mean, I smell a lot of peanut butter and like a little hint of honey, but it just, overall it smells like something just sweet. They disclaimed it on this palette as well, but it does not contain any actual peanuts, just so you guys know in case anyone's allergic. But again, here is what the palette looks like. I'm going to talk about the 3 big shades, which are kind of my 3 least favorite shades in this palette first. So we have Creamed Honey, which is kind of a cream color with a little bit of micro glitter in there. Then we have Be Sweet, which is kind of a peach apricot shade. And then below it, we have Queen Bee, which is a creamy satin shade. So let's talk about this one first. Now, this is supposed to be a creamy satin that has a little bit of a sheen. You apply it to your eyelid and it almost disappears no matter what. Like literally, I'm like, where did this shade go? Much less there is absolutely no shimmer or sheen to it. So this one just doesn't apply or build very well on the eyelid and it totally disappears throughout the day once you even build it up. So this one's a disappointment. Now as far as these 2 shades, I know you guys are sitting there going, really? Why do we have 3 giant boring shades? I totally agree with you guys. Now what I think Too Faced was probably trying to do with these 2 shades was say, okay, let's give you a brow bone highlight or shades to set your primer or shades to just set your eyes to make everything blend out, which I kind of think is what they were going for. But I think if they had done some consumer testing and surveying, they probably would have found out this is not what people really wanted in this palette, much less giant pans of them. I don't need a giant brow bone highlight or a giant setting powder like this, much less these are actually the chalkiest formula out of this palette. Now, I don't think that these are a chalky formula. To me, a chalky formula is like a really crappy quality eyeshadow, like from the drugstore, or just really, really cheap eyeshadows. And I don't think that these are on that level, but I do think these are considered chalky compared to these 6 eyeshadows. And if you're used to the 9-pan formula from Too Faced, which are usually really, really good, that's what Too Faced is good at, is their 9-pan formula. It's smooth, it's buttery, it's pigmented, it's long-lasting. These are not that formula. These are a little bit scratchy and chalky compared to that formula, but I don't think they are chalky in general, if that makes sense. But they do have a little bit of an overlay that once you get through that, it does get more smooth and buttery, but overall, these are just not the same formula that we are used to. They are not super duper pigmented, again, because I don't think that's what Too Faced intended them to be. I think they were just kind of setting powders. So I think that they could have curated this a lot better. I feel like if they had brought in consumers to do like a test little run to try out the palette and get their feedback, like I think they would have found out this is not what most people wanted. I mean, if it's a limited edition palette that's all peanut butter honey, I would have thought that this whole palette would have been like these crazy cool peanut butter honey colors. And they're not. I mean, if we're going to be practical, I don't need these shades. I have them in other palettes, much less like, let's say I didn't own any other palette. I probably have a setting powder that I could use as a brow bone highlight or to set my eyes to make everything blend better. So I could have done something else without these colors. I think they could have made different shades to go in here. So mentioning that, The shade that I have all over my eyelid, because I do think these two pair well together, I use the shade Bananas. I love this shade right here. I mean, it is so pretty on the eyes. It's pigmented, it's shimmery, it's pretty. It's just a really great shade. You can foil it, you know, with setting spray, whatever you want. It's a great formula. I really wish in the 3 pans in here, they had done 3 of these banana formulas. Heck, I wish they had done banana in this palette, but just 3 of these formulas in here would have made this palette so much better. Now, as far as the 3 shades in here that I absolutely do like, that is the shade Peanut Butter, Honey Buns, and Feeling Nutty. We'll talk about Honey Buns first, because if you're like me, this was the shade that drew me in, that I was like, I need this palette because I want this shade right here. I do have it all over in the crease right now. I like to use this one in the crease as a little pop of color and transition. Now, if you're wanting to use this as a crazy color all over the eyelid and do a really bright, fiery, yellowy, orangey look with this palette, it is going to take some time to build up, like 5 or 6 applications to get it to build up to this kind of color. But if you're using it as more of an everyday typical wear, then you're going to really like it, like how I have it right now. Peanut Butter and Feeling Nutty. No surprise, those are really great. Those feel like the original formula, smooth, buttery, blendable, long-lasting, like much better than any other shades in this palette. So going on to the shade Honey Brittle, this one is not quite as smooth and buttery as the other ones. It is getting a little bit more gritty compared to the others. This is another one that you have to build up a lot for it to show up on your eyelid. I think if you're deeper skin tones, you're going to have trouble with this shade. Even for me, with a lighter skin tone, it doesn't build up very well. So not that impressed by that one, but it's not the worst in this palette. Next to it, we have Bee's Knees, which is kind of a really orangey, like terracotta shade. It's actually really pretty. I mean, you can see right there, this is pigmented, it's smooth, it does have micro glitter in it. It doesn't show up too much on the lid once you actually put it there, but this is a really nice shade. I like it better all over the lid, but that's not a typical look that I'm going to do. But if you like orange shades, whether it's in the crease or on your eyelid, this is a good shade. Now on to probably the worst shade in this palette. That's the shade Going Nuts. Now why they even put in this shade in this palette, I don't know. Like, to me, when I think of a peanut butter honey sandwich, which if you've never tried, you should totally do peanut butter banana honey on toasted bread. You guys, it's so good. So where's like the purple jelly shade coming in? I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me, especially because they already put 2 shades in here, and the 2 purple shades in here are awesome. Right off the bat, it's a satin shade, and satin shades to me perform better all over the eyelid versus in the crease. Well, news for you, this does not apply very well to the eyelid. It's patchy, it doesn't want to blend out, and it doesn't build up. I mean, if you want a purple shade, get the peanut butter and jelly palette. It's so much better. So I'm forced to, because this is the only dark crease shade in the palette, to use this in my crease. And I show you guys in the tutorial, but it just doesn't blend out well. Now this looks like a purple shade as well. On your eyes, it actually turns into more of a smoky gray color, which is fine. Like, it's not too bad, but I mean, I was thinking it's a purple shade and it doesn't come off quite like as eggplant purple, and it just does not want to blend. It doesn't want to budge. It just sits there. I mean, it's just really, really hard to work with. Like I said, satins to me perform better on the eyelid, and this just does not do well in any case. Overall, I mean, we're only talking 4 shades that I'm absolutely crazy about, being Peanut Butter, Honey Buns, Feeling Nutty, and Bee's Knees. 4 out of 9. We're already less than 50% of this palette is great. And it's $36. So that being said, I really don't think this is worth paying full price unless you're a collector, you have all the 9 pans, you want this, you know, whatever it may be for those reasons. But if you're talking purely on quality buying this palette, I really don't think this is worth the hype, and I don't think it's that good. And I don't usually say this because I feel like it's implied, but I just want to throw a little disclaimer out there. My only goal with reviews is to give you guys every little piece of information I think you guys could possibly need and want to know in order to make an informed decision. And then of course I give you guys my overall thoughts and my opinions after playing with it based on my wants and needs, which may be different than yours, but I just want to give you guys all the information to make an informed decision. You guys may say, hey, I only need 4 of the shades in here. I love Too Faced. I love the packaging. I've never missed a palette, and you may still want it. Who knows? Your needs and wants may totally be different than mine, and we don't have to agree on that. My goal is, like I said, to only give you guys the information, and then you guys take what you want with that information and make an informed decision whether to purchase the palette or to pass on it. In my personal opinion, I would pass on it. For me, it's not living up to my needs and wants and expectations, but it may meet yours. So like anything, if you're still interested in it, definitely go play with it in stores when it comes out on March 19th. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, that way stay tuned to all my upcoming videos, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!